Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the Screenwriting Step-by-Step series, number 48. My name is Glenn Gers. I am here every Monday through Friday, if I can be, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to take you through step by step the writing of a television drama pilot script. I am going from a rough idea, 2 or 3 sentences, all the way through to a finished first draft. That's the plan. And while I'm doing that every day, just taking a hunk of it and writing and showing you, letting you look over my shoulder, in the hope that I can give you a sense of what the process is like. This is not to say it is the only way to do this. Everyone finds their own way to write. I am just trying to show you my way because it's hard to get to see this sort of stuff, and I'm crazy, so I'm doing it. All right. If you want to ask me a question and you are not watching this live, it's okay. You can ask me questions on writingforscreens.com. There is a contact me button on just about every page, and you can click it and it will open up a message. Or if you don't feel like doing that, you can write a comment or a question here in the comments section of this video or any video on the Writing for Screens channel. I will get it directly. That's the plan. That's the system. That's how it works. Hello to we got a bunch of people on here. Hello to Alex. Hello to Matt. Hello to Foam Heart in Germany. Alex, hello. And as yesterday, as I was just clicking the button to end the broadcast, Alex's question showed up in the chat. It was too late. The machinery was already grinding and I could not stop it to answer this question. So I wrote it down on paper because I am old and I sometimes write things down on paper. And the question was, Alex said, stupid question. It is not a stupid question. There really are no stupid questions here, but this one is particularly not stupid. We could see the others listening to him, ? And the answer is no. And the reason is because he is not broadcasting, he is recording. And so therefore, the others are not actually listening to him at this moment. He is recording a podcast, which he will later upload and will be available for people to listen to. Except that he's not, because he's going to die, but you know the idea. Anyway, the point is no one is listening at this time, so we can't cut away. Otherwise, that is a cool thing to do. I have done it in other scripts. So in this particular case, and in fact, I was just looking at the outline and remembering that there's the whole point here is no one is listening. This is a big deal to our character. So that said, let's get into it. Let's talk about this character. I am going to open up the document to where we left off. However, I am also going to open up the outline because, and this is really easy to do, folks, you get to writing and you forget to look at the outline, even though the outline is literally your map, your instructions, your things to do list, and yet it's really easy to forget it. Especially when you wrote it kind of sloppily as I did. And so therefore things are not in the actual order that you write them. These are just my own notes to myself. But one of the things that I got here is this. This is really important. He has to talk about the fact that no one is listening. Yeah. Let's just get into this. One of the things the other thing is I did all this work here and I'm going to make sure to get it. This is actually one of the easiest things to do. Just do this. You copy and you can paste right into this document. Okay. It is, oh, look at that. I put it right in the middle of, I put it right in the middle of his dialogue. That was a mistake. All right, hold on. Okay. But what you can do is you copy and paste, and then you turn this into dialogue. Boom. And now I've got all this stuff that I have to turn into dialogue, but at least it's on the page. It's someplace where I can remember it and think about it. And George can say, it's a cold case. Ice cold. No one cares because this guy vanished in 1985. See? Now we can take these two things out. He was, I'm sorry. This is the thing that's going to happen, guys. Watch out. I'm just going to get into writing and I'm going to forget that you're here. I literally forgot you were here and I was just writing. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just taking these bits of information and it's a good way to start. You just get yourself some material and then you can start to tweak it and mess with it and get it going. Hold on. Hello, Maria. So Frank has a question. In a drama, how long can the denouement reasonably be? I'm not sure if I understand that question fully because the denouement, depending on what you're doing, it could be half the script. I mean, it depends. I'm not even sure exactly what the denouement refers to in this thing. Do you mean the scene, the final scene, the most important scene, the climactic scene? Remember, and this is a big one for me. Everyone remember, I like to think in scenes. This is really important. So what it comes down to it is I try to think in terms of how many scenes? What scenes? Is this the scene where they say goodbye? Is this the scene where they confront each other? Stuff like that. But the answer is reasonably, most scenes should be around 4 to 6 pages. If it's a big major scene, it could be longer, but that's a rough one. In fact, I just did a video called Think in Scenes where I talk about length of scenes. Frank, if you want to tell me a little bit more about what you're doing, I can possibly be more helpful. Also, if you don't want to do it here, just message me through. Remember, everybody, writingforscreens.com is the place where you can ask me detailed questions. And I will try to answer them. I can't always answer them, but I'll try. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is get this stuff that was in the outline that I feel is important and get it into the text, the rough text. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. By the way, use it again on other victims. Yes, he killed 11 people. The victims were no different. He's not going to talk quite like this, but all right. So this guy was the CSK was smart. He knew how the FBI profilers worked. He understood the rules of evidence, the principles of evidence, and so he didn't leave any. Profilers look for similarities in the victims, but he chose targets he did sign his work. Sign his work, yes, that's good. He had a signature. Okay. Just got notification freaking 9 minutes later. Yes, it's been awful. I agree. Luckily, you guys are here. You guys know I'm usually here. And I want to apologize in advance if something comes up and I can't warn you the day before that I'm not, sometimes I have an appointment and I'm like, I'm going to be at a doctor's appointment. I'm not going to be here, blah, blah, blah. But if things might come up and suddenly I just can't do it, and if so, please accept my apology in advance and know that I will be back, or I will leave a message as a video if I have to. Okay. This is one of my favorite little nerdy things. There seems to be an extra space after the full stop, the famous question of the 2 spaces after the period. So I am going to do this again. I talked about it before in my format video, but I'm going to talk about it again because I just love this. Here's the deal. This actually is kind of important. I don't know. It's important to me, but I also believe it is actually important. Okay, here's the deal. When you type on a computer, in theory, the software adjusts the spaces after a period, or as you Europeans say, full stops, the full stop. So, like here, there's a full stop and there's a period. In almost every font or typeface on the computer, this is automatically adjusted. However, and this is important, Courier. This is Courier. It's a typeface designed to replicate a typewriter. And because a typewriter did not automatically adjust space, Courier does not make that adjustment. And it was the standard proper manuscript format to have 2 spaces after the period. So if you are typing in Courier, only in Courier, any other typeface, don't worry about this. But yes, hit that old space bar twice. And I will tell you why. The I needs help separating the sentences. It needs help separating ideas, and that's what we have paragraphs for. And especially in scripts, paragraph breaks, even these little things that I put in where it's a beat, or if you just interrupt your paragraphs with this stuff, you are helping the I tell the brain there is a discrete hunk of text here, and this one is a different one. And it is important that your sentences be different. They are little standing units. They are little thoughts. They are expressions. And therefore, you do want to put that double space after a Courier full stop or period, as we like to call it. That's the deal on, I wonder if I can do this. Hold on. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Okay. Oh, now that's, I messed up. But you get the idea here. Yeah. The full stop. Oh, sorry. You can't see that. There we go. The full stop is there. And then there is a double space there. And that is the last time we will do that. All right. So yes, I believe, and this is a hotly debated topic among writing nerds on the internet, about the 2 spaces after a period, and the answer is Courier is an exception. That's interesting. I don't see it, but I believe it. Okay. 234 Pika Pika. I love to. Pika, by the way, is a font size, or it used to be on typewriters. How can I become more creative while outlining? That is a great question that I am going to try to answer at another time, because that's a good one. That's a good one for when I can talk about it. Okay, so let's get back to writing. All right, so what I'm doing here is I copied everything from the outline in this section. I copied a big hunk of it, and now I'm trying to turn it into dialogue, into something he would say. So what I'm doing is I'm just breaking this up. Now, as you see, I'm even putting paragraph breaks into my column of dialogue, because honestly, this much of a speech, even just this much, is rare. It is very unusual to have people speak for long, unbroken amounts of time in a contemporary script. It's scary and demanding for the actors and the director, and the executives just lose their freaking minds when they see a hunk of text. So down the line, I will break this up into pieces, but right now, I'm just trying to get a sense of what he's talking about and make sure that he gets the crucial information, things like that he was smart and did his work, that he chose his targets at random. Make sure that that's actually there. The most important thing about the rough draft is getting it down, getting it on paper, getting the words there. Hello, Kirby Light. That is the one thing you have to do in the rough draft. If it is a pile of discombobulated garbage, that's okay if at least you have the words down that say some of the things you need to have happen. You can work from there. I'm putting in some breaks here so that I know this whole thing, I will cut it down, but at the moment, he did sign his work. The poison itself was his signature. He created it, designed it. I'm speaking because I'm speaking the lines, because there's things that you have to hear how they sound. So honestly, if possible, kind of mutter it to yourself while you're doing it or afterwards. This killer wants to get away with it. But wants to make sure. This is too many wants to, so we'll take that out later. Okay, so this is a little analysis of the killer. That is what this little part of the speech is. And I got it there. The symptoms of the poison must be distinctive and listed. So that's a good point. The toxicology analysis explains that this poison is a mixture of nightshade and spadamog. I'm making stuff up. It does not matter. I will research this later. The point is, the victim first feels a buzzing, thickening numbness of the tongue and throat. It is like an anaphylactic allergic reaction. The breathing speeds up as the body frantically attempts oxygen. I am just making stuff up. But what I'm trying to do is think about yes. Okay. He's speaking into a mic, right? Yes. Yes. There will be voice. Some of it will be voiceover because we don't just watch a person speaking for a long time. But what I'm trying to do is right now just get a hunk of speech down there that I'm going to refine later. The writing is a process of it's a process. You don't get it all right at once. Some people do. I want us to talk about this. It is, some people will just like worry each sentence until they get it right, and they won't move on until they get it right. And if that works for you, cool. If you are Flaubert, the French novelist who famously worked like that, if it works for you, if you're getting your stuff done, cool. I have found that your work will be uneven. My work will be uneven that way, and that mainly I just don't get it done. It is sort of more important for me to sketch in the whole thing roughly and then rework it, polish it, find things. I let things spill out as freely as possible so that I have the material to work with. Because until you have it on the page, you don't have it. You feel dizzy, frightened, light-headed. The room seems to spin. They can't focus their eyes or feel with their hands. They go numb. They lose the ability to walk and fall to the ground, helpless, fully aware that they are being killed by something sinister, insidious. How many Blumhouse titles can I put in a row? Sinister, insidious, invasive. Not yet, but you know what? I hope they use that one too. You got to have some fun when you're writing. Enjoy yourself. Invasive, creeping through their bloodstream into their nerve endings and their brain. They stop breathing. They die. Breathing-ing. What I'm trying to do here, I'm just trying to get into the rhythm of a guy trying to make this dramatic, trying to capture your sense of the drama of the murders. Okay. You will sometimes have 20 versions of the script by the end of it. Yeah, absolutely. Usually more, if you're really being honest. Everyone has their own system. This is Maria's. Yeah, okay. If that helps you, to me, it's a sidestep, but sometimes you need to. I mean, sort of my overview is my essay. I just try not to put it in formal terms because I can't be bothered. I'm lazy. Okay, so George's speech here. By the way, I am thinking, let's go back to the beginning. One of the things I'm thinking here is this description of him kind of gives away that he's a loser, in the sense that he's got household items and stuff. I'm beginning to think that we want to sort of pull a fake out here. I thought of this earlier today, that it might be cool if he seems kind of professional, kind of super good at what he's doing, and then at the end of it, he like opens the garage door and we see, oh my God, this is a guy in a crappy old garage, and he's not what we hoped. So I'm actually going to make a note about that. Possibly don't give away that he's working in a sad, shabby garage yet. Make reveal him later when he leaves. This is just a note to myself. I put it in here so that I can so that I'll find it later. Yeah, definitely hit the like button. Yes, I think that will exactly. The question will be whether the idea is to give the scenes a development, a build, not just this is a guy telling us stuff, and that is exactly right. The trick though is that I also wanted to have him talk about the fact that he is alone, that he is not yet. That he is not being listened to, and that's because his desperation to jumpstart this case has got to be a big part of his character. The tricky thing about that, though, is, and there's many ways to do it, and this is actually one of the things I've talked about. I am going to go back to the outline. Okay, so I just typed this all in. So here's what I'm doing. And this is going to like scare the hell out of you. But remember, I made a copy of the outline here. And just to be sure, pilot outline 8/31/21. Okay, now I'm working in the pilot outline. And what I'm going to do is, because I put all this stuff into the script, remember? Boom, it's gone from the outline. I don't need it anymore. This way, as I look at the outline, it gets cleaner and simpler as I go along, and I don't find myself wading into things that I've already done. So this also allows me to do this thing, which is here I'm going to stop and think. Do I want this scene to be a fake out where he seems cool until the reveal of his garage studio? Or well, actually I'm going to say I do want that, but, and I'm going to make this into a note to myself, and I'm going to make it bold because I want to remember it. But I also want to break this up with bits of his life. I think I mentioned this earlier, that down here somewhere we are going to see intercut this, that we don't want this to all be one long speech. That's too much. So the question is this sequence going to be broken up? Yes, I think it will. Maybe he does more than one bit. You know, I'm actually going to make this. It's a question. It's a big question. Okay. So like I said, you continue to use the outline while you are writing the script. Your outline is your workspace. It is the place where you can look at your plan and think about what you have yet to do and what you have not yet to do. And if you need to think, it's a good place to do your thinking. Hello, Wolf Powers. I think a mix of voiceover over the action of the killer doing these things would be awesome. Yes, except the problem is the killer did these things 20, 30 years ago. More, actually. So that would be flashbacks. And I'm not sure so far I have not included the idea of flashbacks at all. I want to keep us in the present. I want to be conscious of the fact that we understand these things only through our podcasts, our reporting, etc., etc. There just seems to be something unwise about going into flashbacks in this particular story, because it's about the distance from the past in some ways. It's about how you don't know stuff from the past. Yes, he can. Yes, he definitely. I want George to talk about being a loner, and Isn't the killer's identity a bit of a secret? Could do the aftermath of the crime scenes, etc. Yes, no, the killer's identity is entirely secret. Let's get this straight, guys. Here's what we're doing. George has done a lot of research. He knows everything there is to know about this killer. He is telling us, because that's how podcasts work, or that's how there should work, at least, is that these people have done a lot of research and they're trying to form the research into an entertaining audio experience. So that is George's actual physical action. What he is doing in the scene is making a podcast. And what we are doing in hearing and seeing that is we are getting the information that he is trying to convey. That is the actual action of the scene. Okay, so the point about this, I don't want that to be in capitals, the poison itself. I will not do that. I will underline it. The poison itself. When I read that, I realized that there are certain things that I know because I wrote them in the outline, but the audience doesn't know it because if you don't put it in the script, the audience doesn't know it. And that is the whole job here, is to find interesting, emotional, character-based ways to get this information across so that they can go, I'm working on the puzzle with us. All right. Let's take that out because we are now doing it. This is not a good sentence, but I will leave it. Okay. George switches off the recorder. He takes a deep breath, not break. Oops. Can you underline or italicize words in dialogue that hint the emphasis to the actor? Yes, you can. In fact, you should. If you have that focus and you know exactly what it is. Like in this case, I did. The poison itself was his signature. You go easy on that. Like any emphasis, like exclamation points or stuff. When people say, like, never use an exclamation point, that's just silly, as far as I'm concerned. Every showrunner, every writer is different. I believe exclamation points are legitimate in dialogue. I can hardly remember a time I've ever used an exclamation point in the scene lines, in the action lines. But yes, you can do all caps. Although the thing, all caps to me suggests yelling, which is different from emphasis. It's a volume thing. Totally at random. Those were all capped in the outline, so they got copied and pasted that way. All right. Well, this is some information. This is too much information. So I'm going to do the thing where we reveal the shabbiness of the studio now. Garage door opener, opener in the rafters pulls the shabby wooden garage door open. Light floods in from outside. Washing the studio in late afternoon light and exposing it for what it is. George's shabby, rickety, I will change this later, two-car garage. What I'm going to probably do is take a bunch of the description from up here, copy it, and paste it down here. Like this. Choo-choo. So I'm taking some of the description I had and I am moving it, okay, to reveal the garage. And I'm getting rid of that because it's already said. So now we're going to start with this darkness, etc. And I'm going to take this out because I made the decision. Look at that. Okay. You guys getting this? You see what I'm doing here? Obviously, there's going to be some stuff I have to work on, but yeah. Okay. Do I ever use the beat board to outline for the timeline file draft? No, I don't, but only because the beat board, folks, is this thing which, I don't seem to have here. I may have accidentally removed it. There's this thing that you can have up here in Final Draft, which it allows you to do outlining. Let me see if I can find it here. I don't know. I'll do this some other time. I don't really know how to use this very well because I don't do it. I outline and stuff in a software called Scrivener. And Scrivener allows you to do cork boards and beat boards and all sorts of things. So I just do all that there. And then I just type the script into the script. And I don't use a lot of Final Draft's wonderful things, which honestly they created because there were things like Scrivener that were stealing their customers. So they took those qualities and put them into Final Draft, and bravo for them. But the answer is, once again, you do not need expensive, fancy software to write a script. You don't. It's fun to have it. It's great if you want to have it. It actually takes some extra time to learn to use. So there's some pluses and minuses. But the main thing is, if you are not committed to a long professional career, don't spend the money on it unless you're got $200-300 to throw away. Cool. You do not need special software to outline or to write a script. Do a few of them, get good at it, just using word processing, or I believe there's some software that's free online which allows you to do some basic script formatting. Cool. Use that. See how you feel. See if it's worth it. And then maybe you buy the other stuff. If you're into it, if you got the money, if you're the sort of person who can and wants to do that, great, do it. But you don't have to. It's just very important. Okay. I am, by the way, using 11. I know there is a 12, but I honestly am not writing scripts much anymore. I've been writing lectures for 2 years, videos for 2 years, and I don't need a fancy software for that. In fact, I do those in Scrivener. And when I get done with this teaching endeavor, I'm going to be writing novels. And once again, Final Draft is the last thing I'll need. Yes, Google Docs has templates. Cool. I use Apple Pages to outline for you guys. I use Scrivener when I'm doing it for my own projects because I like it and I'm used to it, and it's very good for organizing long, complex documents with many, many sections, which for me, a novel certainly is, and honestly, for a script, it's just fun for me to use Scrivener. But Scrivener is hard to learn. It takes a while. They've got actually amazing tutorial stuff, but it's just very complex. It's like a jet airliner as far as the number of things you can adjust. Much cheaper version if anyone is a student. You mean Final Draft? Yes, I believe that there is a cheaper version if you are a student. And see if you can get it. Anyway, I am currently, I was using Apple Pages for the outline because I wanted you guys to see it in the simplest, easiest format possible. In the I can do this if I have Google Docs, if I have an Apple computer, you have Pages built in. You can outline with anything. You know, it shouldn't be, there shouldn't be a tech divide when you are teaching yourself an art, if you can help it. Certainly this particular art of screenwriting, yes, fancy software is lovely. It helps. It's good. Enough about software. The question here is character. Is just George's black t-shirt is revealed to be an old Richard Hell and the Voidoids shirt worn backwards. Richard Hell and the Voidoids were an old punk band, and I'll probably change that. But when I was a young man in the East Village in New York, there was a lot of signs for Richard Hell and the Voidoids, and I just like the name. Anyway, this is important. This is important. Just do shit. Just have fun. Write what comes into you. The things that come into my head are different than the things that will come into your head. And that's why we have more than one book and movie. That is the whole point of the art, is I will think of different stuff than you will think of. And therefore, there's a good chance the things I think of will be interesting to some people and obscure and unacceptable to others. You can't control that, but if you don't let loose your stuff, and your stuff can be stuff you've read about, it can be stuff you've researched, it could be stuff that you've absorbed by watching old, cartoons, whatever it is, let that out. Let that be the texture of your work. Let your imagination be free, because if you don't, everything seems the same. You get the same homogenized garbage that no one will want to read. Honestly, the thing that you have to offer is your weirdness, is your emotion, is your thought and feeling, is the way you will put things together that's different from anyone else's. That is your value. So learn to feel free to write Richard Hell and the Voidoids shirt, because who cares? Nobody's going to read this script and suddenly go, I'm not reading this anymore. I don't like that reference. So anyway, actually it's been 45 minutes, and that's just such a great rant. I think I'm going to stop on that. Wolf has got a little note here about possible other software. Research it. Teach yourselves. Research things. Everything is constantly changing as far as things like software, so just get on it and see what's good for you. The main thing is, and I just want to end on this, writing is personal. It is instinctive. One of the hardest things to get used to is just that it's okay to write a weird thing that you just thought. That is, if it's terrible, you can always change it. You have a delete key. It's fine. But don't spend your time thinking, is this pretty? Is this acceptable? Is this like other things? If you think it's like other things and you want it to be, cool. But if you're doing it out of fear, don't be afraid when you are writing the first draft, especially. Just get it down there. And with that, I retire from the battleground. I say unto you all, Cool. I believe tomorrow I will be doing a full Q&A, AMAA, ask me almost anything, and not working on this because the questions are piling up and they're good and I want to get to them. So we're going to do that. In the meantime, go write something.